as it should be all year round, moves to the young people of the country and the city of Ekurhuleni, which is now hosting a youth economic summit, while at the same time facing a very daunting school pregnancy crisis. MMC for Youth, Cllr Lesiba Mpye, joins us to get some assurances now. Thank you so much for joining us now, MMC. I think it's probably a really tough time, look, across the country, but certainly as well in Ekurhuleni regarding the pregnancy issue. And I think that takes precedence over everything else. 1,000 schoolgirls pregnant last year. That's out of 620 schools in the city, with the youngest being a grade 5 pupil, which could be around 9 or 10 years old. Where has the education system and that entire environment gone wrong?
Well, thank you for having us. Scary statistics. But we've been seeing the signs. Last year, the mayor visited one of our higher institutions learning in Davidton, did a study, and discovered that half of the students were HIV positive. And the mayor requested that we make interventions as a city to make sure that we actually increase dialogue. And the reason why I say that the signs have been there is because there has not been sufficient intervention coming from society, coming from the families. We need to start an engagement, public discourse, where we would actually start speaking to the parents of the child, because government is on their own will not be able to handle this rising pandemic. It's a serious concern to ourselves.
But at the same time, what is government doing? Despite the fact that, yes, you say you can't do it alone, but what is government doing?
Remember, government has tried to make several interventions, including prevention measures. In schools, we have certain schools where there's vendors, condom vendors. We've tried to also go back to basics, go and aggressively move in with awareness programs where would be able to say to young girls they should abstain. But also what is confronting us is a phenomenon of blessers, where older people are taking advantage of young people. It's very scary that a grade 5 student was found to be pregnant. You ask yourself, what is the source? So could it be the teacher? Could it be the uncle, the father at home? Could it be that there's a boyfriend? But the fact of the matter is that a young child, as young as she was, it's really a scary statistics.
What can be done in a situation like that? You've identified that it's perhaps the blessers, as they're colloquially termed now. What can be done in a situation like that, particularly from your end?
We need to have a conversation with ourselves, especially the victims, because the victims must be able to participate in this conversation with ourselves. And when we do that, we say there has to be a sufficient self-introspection where there has to be self-discipline. I can give you a practical example. I saw a school this morning where the taxi industry also has to come at play. These kids, they are able to wait for transports, those that have a bigger sound, and it does not matter to them at what time they arrive at school. And they know that deliberately, when they come after 8, the schools will close them outside. So it's a situation where, as a society, we need to come together. Every stakeholder, the churches, the parents, the ordinary man on the street has to take responsibility. We must take ownership of the problem.
Are you engaging with police?
Yes, we are, indeed. We have had several forums with the police, especially the local police department, the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. We do not want to see any child that is in a transport after 7:45. So we are making several interventions, but as I say, it's a situation where, as government, we need to be in partnership with the relevant stakeholder and the end user, the victim, or the victims are the most necessary and important stakeholder. But also the parents at home. The mayor was saying that we need to also have a seminar where we are going to be engaging parents.
Yes.
Because we believe that they are a very critical stakeholder to assist us in curbing this, rising number statistic.
MMC, just for the interest of time, of course, the summit is also very critical and very important. What are the areas you want to focus on and the main things you want to come out of that summit with?
Well, we want to focus on totally eradicating teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
We want to focus at responsive behavior. We want to focus at abstinence, because we believe that we need to retain the culture of our families. That young girls, young boys need to abstain from sexual activities until at the right time. We need to focus on safety measures, because what we found out when those students were half of them, who would have, tested positive. We need to have intervention in that regard, and we need the Department of Health as well as all other NGOs and stakeholders to help us in that regard. So our primary focus is on that, maintaining the fact that we are not going to see a rise of this particular statistics in the future.
Employment becomes a very big topic as well. It is a youth economic summit as well. So how then do you bolster the city of Ekurhuleni to become even more self-sufficient when it comes to economic development? Well,
of course, employment is very critical, and youth employment youth unemployment is at an all-time high, and which simply means that we, as a city, have been having programs such as the investment conference that we have gone and engaged big business to give SMMEs a space, and we have a memorandum of understanding with big business where your local SMMEs will find space in the preferential procurements. For instance, as the MMC of Human Settlements, I have a memorandum of understanding with our developers that all the legislated preferential procurement should be given to youth-owned businesses, because the cornerstone of the economy is your small businesses, and we believe that if we bolster that particular segment of the economy, we are going to see a significant shift to youth unemployment.
MMC for youth in the city of Ekurhuleni, thank you so much for your time. All the best of luck with that youth economic summit. I believe today is day 2 of the summit. Tomorrow becomes day 3 and the final day of that summit. Thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thank you.
The MMC for youth in the city of Ekurhuleni, Lesiba Mpye. We'll get back to more news.